The hero and heroine fall in love. A villain who is a very powerful criminal either has the heroine captive or the hero has a personal vendetta against him, or sometimes both. So the hero changes his identity to enter the villain's place by taking the help of a comedian, usually played by Dr. Brahmanandam, or sometimes more than one, and then fools the villain in a series of comedic set pieces. This was a very common and highly successful trope in Telugu cinema from mid 2000s to early 2010s. Though this formula has its origin in the Hindi film Dilwale,
చూడకపోతే ఇప్పుడు ఆ స్టోరీ కూడా చెప్తావా?
అది కాదండి.
it is later seen in very nascent stages in Telugu films like Premante Idera and Rajakumarudu. It evolved into the structure that we know very well today only in the 2004 film Gudumba Shankar. In this video, we will be seeing why and how Gudumba Shankar stands apart from all the dozens of films that came after.
Gum 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 gumba, dumba, gudumba, gum 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 gudumba, ba ba.
Well, to put it in one word, writing. It's the writing of Gudumba Shankar that puts it apart from all the others. By the usage of plot devices like setup and payoff and foreshadowing, Gudumba Shankar has an organic unfolding of sequences. Gudumba Shankar is written by a set of people: Pawan Kalyan, Nagababu, Abbas Tayarwala, G.K. Gopi and Satyanand. It's generally said that too many cooks spoil the broth, but I say Gudumba Shankar benefited to a great extent from its multiple writers. Let's begin our breakdown where the film begins. We are introduced to Shankar in this scene where he fools a smuggler by pretending to be a police officer and makes a lot of money. We learn that Gudumba Shankar is a person who achieves anything by deceiving and fooling people instead of fighting. This is very different from many of the commercial films of that time and even some of those which are of the same template as Gudumba Shankar. And this is not a one-time thing. There's this sequence where a bunch of goons harass Gauri and Shankar enters. But he doesn't fight like we expect any commercial hero to. Instead, he fools them into believing Gauri has a contagious disease and touching or contacting her shall mean that they get it too. He not just tells this, but also gives them a kind of demo showing he's already become a victim of it. This works and they flee the spot terrified. And by the way, it's not that Shankar can't fight. He can, but he isn't that good. He tries to avoid a fight whenever possible. This might also be because he's a bit scared.
నిజంగానే వాళ్ళు నిన్ను చూసి పారిపోయారే.
వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళిపోయిన తర్వాత నేను చూసాను. ఒకసారి వాడి కండలు చూడు, ఒకసారి నా కండలు చూడు. బలిసి నడుజునలో వాడు నాడు చిక్కిన చిరుతుకులో నేనున్నాను. వాడితే నాకు ఫైట్ ఏంటి?
So Shankar basically does this.
మాక్సిమం బ్రెయిన్ యూస్ చేస్తాను, కుదరకపోతే
ఒక్కలు ఎరగతేస్తాడు.
Wait. What's happening here? Bablu poses as a police officer along with his friends and fools a person.
చూసినట్టుంది కదా?
So he tries to do anything but fight when there's a trouble. And even when he does, they are as real as possible and sometimes very self-aware and self-deprecating, making them very grounded. Therefore, that's what happens when the goons find out that Shankar fooled them. So he gets scared and first he tries to do what he always does, fool them again.
ఆకులు ఎరుకుంటున్నాను.
It doesn't work out. Then he reasons with them. He even pleads them. But they start hitting him. And then he fights back. This fight sequence, like I mentioned, is very real. Shankar attacks the goons one by one by camouflaging into the surroundings and making the best use of the things around him. And after the fight is done, the entire thing is brought back to reality when Gauri says this.
అవును 10 మందిని కొట్టడానికే నీకు ఇంత టైం పడుతుందా?
Now let's come to the most important part, the second half. We get to know that Kumaraswamy, a very powerful businessman and rowdy cheater, has Gauri and her family captive in his place and plans to marry her. This is because Parabrahmaswamy told him that marrying her gets him enormous fortune and good luck. So Gudumba Shankar decides to get Gauri out of this trouble like any hero would, but not in the way any hero would. Because he isn't that courageous enough.
నీ రౌడిజానికి భయపడడానికి కూడా మామూలు శంకర్ కాదురా. గుడ్డుంబా శంకర్. మనకని ధైర్యం ఆడుందా? నిన్ను వాళ్ళ లాక్కెళ్ళిపోతే వెళ్ళిపోవడమే. మరి నన్నే వాడిని కొట్టి కొట్టనేదని ఇప్పుడు మన దాకా వస్తే విషయం అర్థం కాలేదు కదా.
So what does he do? Yes, he decides to fool Kumaraswamy. Like he posed as a police officer before, he now poses as a wedding planner,
Kalyanji,
Kalyanji Anand.
Anandji.
So this is how the so-called villain Bakara trope of Gudumba Shankar is well carved and very organically unfolded. Also, Shankar enters the house with a proper action plan.
నిన్ను ముట్టుకున్నా నిన్ను తలుచుకున్నా నీ గాలి సోకినా ఆఖరికి నీ చెయ్యి పడ్డా కూడా రాజయోగం కాదు కదా దరిద్రయోగం సిద్ధిస్తున్న వాడు నమ్మేలా చేసి ఈ పిల్ల వద్దు పెళ్లి వద్దు నుంచి పారిపోయేలా చేస్తాను. దిస్ ఇస్ గుడుంబా శంకర్స్ గేమ్ ప్లాన్. హౌ ఇస్ ఇట్?
Wait,
చూసినట్టుంది కదా?
this is exactly what Shankar did in the first half when the goons tried to harass Gauri. Make them believe that she puts them into misery. So everything that he does from now is part of the plan. Be it the fire accident during a puja, Mama getting hit with a coconut, and finally almost a bomb blast. All these lead to Kumaraswamy having second thoughts and finally avoiding the marriage.
ఈ పెళ్లి జరగకూడదు ప్లీజ్.
But like how it was foreshadowed in the first half of the film, I mean, just like how the goons in the first half found out, similarly, Kumaraswamy too finds out that he's been cheated and confronts him. Just like then, Shankar gets scared and then tries to continue his act.
ఈ అమ్మాయి పాప ఆత్మహత్య చేసుకోపోయిందన్న. ఈ అమ్మాయితో పాటు వీళ్ళ నాన్న వీళ్ళ అమ్మ వీళ్ళ చెల్లి అందరూ ఆత్మహత్య చేసుకోపోయారన్న. చావద్దు చావద్దు అని ఎంత చెప్పినా వినకుండా చచ్చిపోతుంటే ఇంతలో మన గురుజీ వచ్చి ఆయన కళ్యాణ్జీ ఆనందజీ ఈ అమ్మాయిని పెళ్లి చేసుకో కుమారస్వామికి రావాల్సిన దరిద్రయోగా నువ్వు తీసుకొని చెప్తే ఎంత వద్దు గురుజీ అని చెప్తున్నా బలవంతంగా ఇప్పుడు దగ్గర తాళి కట్టించారు.
It fails. Then he tries to reason with them. And then he's hit. But soon he fights back and finally ends up living happily ever after.
ఎలా ఉంది